Hey everybody, coming up tonight on Now, what do you do when there's conflict in the workplace? We're getting some advice.
You talking about me?
Just saying.
Okay, if your employer wanted to put a microchip under your skin, would you let them? No?
There could be some perks to it. Also, do you have any old vintage Pyrex in your cupboards? You may want to check because they're worth a lot of money.
All right, this is News Center Now.
This mayor, unless you agree with him 100% of the time, he will keep coming after you.
As somebody whose job it is to lead the city, I must have the information I request.
Trying to work together in a chaotic climate, chances are, whether it's local or national, you probably have felt a little political pressure yourself over the last few months. Good evening, everyone. I'm Amanda Hill.
And I'm Lee Goldberg. You just heard an exchange between two leaders in Maine's largest city. When it comes to politics, the tension is seemingly high everywhere.
But when it's your job to work together, News Center's Jessica Gagne shows us some ways to move past that tension into a more productive place.
That's right. It can be difficult for everyone to agree, especially when it's a topic that you're passionate about. So I spoke with a human resources professional to get tips on how to stop the fighting and start working together. It's often seen in politics, whether online or on camera. Conflicts between colleagues happen on Capitol Hill and here in Maine. For example, last year's release of a voicemail Governor LePage left for Democratic Representative Drew Gatine.
You little son of a socialist.
The latest example of tense relations on display comes from a city council workshop in Portland on Monday night that was broadcast live online. Mayor Ethan Strimling and city manager John Jennings had some strong words for each other.
It is clear the city manager wants to point fingers rather than hammer out how we work together to tackle the big problems facing Portland.
If I'm going to be directed by this council to violate the charter, you will have my resignation immediately.
Workplace tension may be seen more often in the political sphere, but it happens everywhere, and HR professionals suggest getting ahead of it before it gets confrontational.
Don't even get to that point. Step back before you even butt heads and get to know one another.
KMA Consulting has clients from all types of companies, from restaurants to medical offices to manufacturing plants. Kristen Kellner says conflict in the workplace is very often something that can be talked through. She says that being accusatory won't help get anything resolved, but building relationships will.
Addressing it early, quickly, making sure that you address it in a way that you're comfortable, that doesn't put the other person on defense, and owning what it is that you're saying.
Kellner also said that trying to handle conflict in a public forum is not a good course of action. She says if you take issue with a colleague, pull them aside and speak face to face to see if you can resolve it together privately. If not, she suggests involving one other person to help you get to some common ground. Sometimes that can help.
Yeah, a little middleman. All right.
So, yeah, in case we have any conflict here.
I will not be the middleman.
Yes.
No, I'm backing away on this
on.
one. Not taking sides.
You know, a lot of you had a lot to say about the back and forth last night between Portland's mayor and city manager, and we took some of your comments and questions to both. John Jennings declined to comment. Mayor Strimling sat down to answer a few. Debbie says, show King Ethan in his obnoxiously high chair looking down on everyone. Dan says the mayor thinks he's the king. What was up with the chair being so high?
That's the chair I use at every meeting. It's actually because when I stand up, I have a bad back, so I need to have a chair that's a little higher so I can read on the podium. So at every meeting, I use that chair. Remember, at most meetings, everybody stands when they speak. It was a workshop, so people were sitting. So when they stand, we're all in the same position. So it's simply because I have my back. I can't stand. The chair of the meeting always stands the entire meeting, and I can't do that. So
Andrew Roberts, what are the two even bickering about? What does this even stem down to?
Remember, for 100 years we didn't have an elected mayor, and the people demanded more democracy, and so they said, we want an elected mayor as part of the system, a third leg to the stool, and we're still really wrestling as a city government with how that works and what are the roles of the three.
Chris says, you know, too many chefs in the kitchen. Mickey says Portland doesn't need a mayor, it has a city manager.
The people said we need a mayor. They want an elected mayor, they want a strong policy mayor, and that's what we have, and we should try to implement that. I think the two of us can work together. I think the charter was written in such a way that the city manager and the mayor are supposed to work together closely, trying to look at the goals of the city and where we go.
Cindy specifically addressed you saying, what are you going to change? Sounds like you feel this is not your problem. Negotiation won't work if you're not willing to compromise.
I've heard from the council, and I heard it last night. They want me to work more closely with committees and with committee chairs and try to understand what's going on in committees and how can I fit the policy agenda that I'm trying to move forward into what they're doing. I'm going to look for more ways to do that.
According to Portland's spokesperson, City Manager John Jennings is planning to schedule that weekly meeting with the mayor starting later this month. Nationally, things are tense in the workplace too.
Yeah, the controversial White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci got the boot yesterday after 10 days on the job. You might remember that profanity-laced New Yorker interview shortly after he got the job. While the correspondent who conducted that interview is in Maine today, he was here when he found out about the White House change yesterday. Ryan Lizza was at the College of the Atlantic in Bar Harbor last night. He described some of his back and forth with Scaramucci.
Call was 8 minutes and 41 seconds, and I hung up the phone, and I thought that was the strangest the word I kept using is insane. That is the most insane conversation I've ever had with a senior government official or any government official in 20 years of reporting on Washington.
Scaramucci's interview with the New Yorker included profanity, which is one of the reasons sources close to the president tell NBC News that they say he was ousted as director of communications.
All right, from one heated exchange to another, the humidity is back in the forecast.
All right, now Casey, yesterday some of that came with thunderstorms. Any thunder in the forecast today?
You know what? Actually, surprisingly quiet out there. High pressure directly overhead, so that's been the reason. 85 in Lewiston, 87 right now in Freiburg. It's been warm. We got to 86 officially in Portland and 84 in Bar Harbor. That is rarefied air for them. Check this out on the radar. This is not rain. This is the sea breeze front being shown going inland away from the coast. And look at this little item here. Sebago Lake has its own little front, not sea breeze, but lake breeze that's occurring. So all these different breezes flowing around, but no precipitation on the radar. In fact, very few clouds even, just a few over down east Maine. Bigger picture shows that we're in this big ridge of high pressure. This is the remnants of that tropical storm. And we've got some clouds down across the south from the heat and humidity, but an unusually dry and sunny day through the day today. Now, winds are out of the south in Rockland, Bar Harbor, in Rockland and Portland, Bar Harbor West. That's where that sea breeze is coming on shore. Dew point's starting to creep up there as well. I had one of my weather watchers say, starting to feel that stickiness creeping into the air. It'll do more than creep into the air, guys, over the next few days. It's going to be extremely humid and pretty warm as well. We'll take a look at that in the weekend forecast.
All right, Keith, thank you very much. Police issued an arrest warrant today for a man wanted in connection to an alleged renting scam.
Nathaniel Poulin is charged with 4 individual counts of theft by deception. Police in Lewiston are urging Poulin to turn himself in. They also encourage the public to call if they have any information.
Chris Rose joins us now. And Chris, this alleged scam really upset a lot of people in the Lewiston area.
Yeah, police say something like this, a case like this, really touches a nerve in the community. You know, you have several people who don't have a lot of money to begin with, taken for large amounts of money while simply trying to find an affordable place to live. Police say, Lee and Amanda, that's why they would like to find Poulin as quickly as possible and resolve this case.
What's interesting is he actually gave these potential renters his real name.
Yeah, he did. We spoke to a woman. She says this man named Nate Poulin came up to her, showed an apartment, took $1,100 from her. It's an apartment he had nothing to do with. Police tried to locate him. They could not. They wanted to hear his side of the story, and when they couldn't find him, they issued that arrest warrant. A judge signed off on that today.
And we featured this woman a couple weeks ago, I think, on the program here, but she wasn't the only one, as it turns out. They got scammed by this guy. Yeah,
we'll hear from her coming up on News Center at 6 about the arrest warrant. Police say they have 4 victims so far in this case. They're still working. The investigation is still open to try to find out if there are more people out there. But right now, their main focus is finding Nathaniel Poulin and bringing him in and formally charging him with those 4 counts of theft by deception. And more on this story coming up later tonight? Absolutely.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
A young woman from Sydney, Maine, continuing to recover from a very serious yet freak accident. Erin Field, who went to Messalonsky High School, was injured in early July when a chimney collapsed and landed on top of her in Boston's North End.
Yeah, the 21-year-old has been at Mass General Hospital ever since that accident. Now, some of her closest friends were in Boston to see her yesterday, and they managed to get a very special get well message from the lead singer of Aerosmith, Steven Tyler.
Is it on video?
Yeah, it's on video.
Yo, Erin, look at you. Come on, girlfriend. We love you. We love you. We're sending big kisses, white light, and energy to heal, baby.
We're Erin. Yes, thank you.
And the plan is for Erin to move to a rehab facility as soon as possible to continue her recovery there. All right, so different employers offer different perks, but this one you might want to think twice about.
How do you feel about getting microchipped for work? We will explain why one company is offering it. In the meantime, we want you to weigh in. Go to pulse.newscentermaine.com or open our mobile app and click on the Pulse tab to vote. You can also jump onto Facebook Live right now as we head into the commercial. We'll continue the conversation with you. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, I'm Katie Ortiz with your Social Stop. It appears Pyrex dishes, of all things, are a huge talker online right now. Even more surprising, there's a mammoth following of self-proclaimed Pyrex junkies. The popular cookware and bakeware are making headlines for not where they are now, but where they started. You've probably seen vintage Pyrex dishes before, likely at Grandma's house or yard sales. They're bright and colorful with floral accents all over them. I mean, you might even have them still in your own kitchen. Well, if you do, congratulations, you now have a gold mine. They're worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. And by the looks of this search on eBay, they're in high demand too. But not everybody wants to give them up, understandably so. For Diane Elliott, it was her wedding gift in 1969, best bowls ever. Now, Trish Gann says her grandmother's red-covered casserole dish is filled with memories of her tuna noodle recipe. For that, it's priceless. Now, Nicole, though, taking the cake with this one, 100 pieces from both of her grandparents. She says she would not even think about selling them. She even has her favorite piece, gravy boat with the saucer. Now, the sentimental value of vintage Pyrex is what the owner of Recycling Retro says makes them so special. Kathy Missel owns the vintage store in Woolwich, and her Pyrex pieces were featured on the Today Show website.
Pretty much everybody that comes into my shop relates to a piece that they see, that they saw when they were growing up. Mom or grandmom or sometimes even great-grandmom cooked one of their favorite dishes.
Now, aside from how pretty they are and the memories that come with each dish, people love vintage Pyrex because of how durable they are and how long they last. Not to mention they're discontinued because Pyrex changed its formula from borosilicate glass to soda lime.
Well, there you go.
I still have
Who
Pyrex.
knew?
I have Pyrex.
And I feel like I
it.
sold a bunch at a yard sale. Maybe I want to go get it back. Could be worth something.
Should have listened to that first.
Seriously. All right, it was just a gorgeous day all across New England, Maine, New Hampshire. Loving the sun.
Yeah, but the forecast changes a little for tomorrow. Keith Carson is up next to tell us what's on the way.
All right, it's a fitting name for a new service in Florida. Walt Disney World and Lyft partnered to offer visitors transportation in a mini van. Get it? It's available for people who are staying at the park at Disney and at the Boardwalk Resort and the Yacht and the Beach Club resorts. You get to be in mini.
I bet your daughter would love that.
Miss Maya would be all about that.
A company in Wisconsin's offering its employees an interesting perk. The business implanted workers with a microchip if they wanted one. This is our Pulse question today. The company provides technology for mini markets and kiosks. With the chip, workers will be able to open doors, log into their computers, use the copy machine, even buy snacks in the break room. The chip is about the size of a grain of rice and gets implanted into the hand using a syringe.
No.
How do you get it taken out?
No.
Sounds
no.
awesome.
Does it get taken out?
You don't put it in, is what you do. What? To help pay for your snack? I don't know. Grab some money.
Doesn't seem worth the reward in that case.
I was gonna say, you gotta give me more.
If
Like,
there was something
give me a
really
$1 million
awesome
bonus.
Yeah.
Quick
I'll do
reminder, we are taking a pulse on this, pulse.newscentermaine.com. Go there, weigh in, or open up the app on your phone.
I'll grab my
3%.
fob. I'm not gonna go ahead and get.
It's kind of a beatdown.
Just saying.
Even I'm not probably a fan of that. Like you said, it had to be a bigger reward than that. Anywho, pretty warm today. 86 in Portland. This is the first time we ever agreed on anything? Like technology,
publicly, yes.
Science, or
publicly, I would
fact-related?
say this is our first time. Are we recording the show?
Public policy breakthrough for Lee and I. 87 in Sanford, 87 officially. Yeah, didn't even need a mediator for that one. Check this out on the radar. There's no showers out there, but there is this really interesting feature, which is the sea breeze pushing on shore, and the density of the air change is confusing the radar into thinking that it's rain. And you can see this little breeze off Sebago too. It has its own little currents that go on there. Might be part of the reason they have some of the stronger storms in the area. Otherwise, though, it's quiet through the rest of tonight. Big ridge of high pressure in place. And even tomorrow, there's an isolated chance for a thunderstorm, but I don't think there are a ton of them around. There's not much forcing in the atmosphere until we get to Thursday, Friday, and certainly into Saturday. So high pressure still dominating. As high pressure sinks a bit, we start getting into a really humid southwest flow. Feel it a little bit right now. You'll feel it a lot over the next couple of days with dew points in the mid and upper 60s. So it will be noticeably humid, uncomfortably so. Probably by tomorrow midday or so. And then again, as this front approaches, we start to get a little bit more forcing, such that Thursday and Friday we have a better chance of thunderstorms. Most of them, though, are in the afternoon, and we start with a decent day both of those days. And some good news for your Saturday forecast. This front out here looks to be a little bit slower. So Saturday morning may be okay, and then thunderstorms come through in the afternoon and evening. We'll keep an eye on that. Timing is everything there. Tomorrow morning we start with some fog, especially over the mid-coast and down East Maine. Burn that off, start warming up into the 80s. That does produce, as I mentioned, a couple of showers and thunderstorms. There won't be that many of them around, and they'll wane as we head into Wednesday night. Thursday we start again with some fog, and then again some isolated showers and thunderstorms during the afternoon. Better chance of those away from the coastline than along the immediate coastal plain. Temperatures tomorrow will be a little bit cooler along the coast because we are going to kick a sea breeze. 80 in Portland, 72 I think in Rockland, and 78 in Bar Harbor. Look at that. Very strong east-southeasterly component tomorrow and Thursday, which just screams sea breeze to me. It'll be sticky all the way through Saturday and then refreshing Sunday and Monday. Your extended forecast again, we'll watch Saturday. I do think we'll see showers at some point during the day. It just may be the afternoon and early evening as opposed to morning, so depending on what your plans on that day, it's going to make a big difference. And Sundays, as they have been for the past 8, looking good. Monday looks solid as well. Here's just an early crack at the beach to begin. Again, assuming the front is slow enough, it will be humid, but we should avoid the rain, at least how it looks right now.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Keith. All right. When someone's caught shoplifting, it's not often that they are rewarded. But when a police officer caught a Maryland woman trying to steal diapers, he offered to pay for them. The young single mother didn't have money for the diapers for her infant son. The officer, raised by a single mother himself, says he could relate, so he bought 2 packages for her. She didn't, however, get off that easily. She still received a citation for shoplifting.
All right, Americans are not drinking as much soda as they used to, present company included. According to Beverage Digest, soda consumption fell to a 31-year low last year. Demand for soda has taken a hit by sugar taxes that are aimed at stemming diabetes and obesity.
An eagle is once again flying high thanks to some lobstermen off the coast of eastern Maine.
Coming up, how they helped the one-eyed bird get back in the air. Thank goodness you all have some common sense. Our Pulse results. See right there?
Yes.
It's, what's that? 92 to 8.
8% say yes. I want to know who these 8% people are, though, who would be microchipped.
It also means 92% of you say no. So that's a good thing. Just saying, that's their update on the do you want to be microchipped? 100% of you are going to watch this. The 20th annual Beach to Beacon 10K. It's this Saturday, and Friday night at 7 o'clock, News Center will be airing a half-hour special. Beach to Beacon, a 20-year run. It's Friday night, 7 o'clock, right here on News Center. Overwhelming support for that.
Okay, before we get to Keith, check out this video of a Maine lobster boat crew saving an eagle they spotted struggling in the ocean. It's gone viral at this point. John Chipman of Birch Harbor, that's in Hancock County, came across the wet and weary bird near Schoodic Island. Chipman says he and the 2 retired police officers got the bird out of the water by making a raft from a life preserver, a piece of plywood, and a rope. He says the bird seemed to be older and was missing an eye. The bird rested on the back of the boat until it eventually dried off and flew away.
All right, this is crazy video here. A man riding the subway in New York City at the same time appearing to solve Rubik's Cube without even really paying attention. I don't even know what's going on there. He's using one hand on the Rubik's Cube. He's just like, oh, whatever. He also appears to be watching something on his phone while he takes care of the Rubik's Cube with one hand. I never once was able to solve Rubik's Cube.
Was this our lead-in to Keith, like super smart guys?
Yeah.
No,
well,
but
no.
I
never
had
was
trouble
able
with
to do it.
those.
I got 2 sides once.
Yep. Spatial concept problems is what I had. Okay, today's brain drops is kind of interesting. Bermuda Triangle, right? It's a scary idea. It's got this kind of mythical reputation. This is not necessarily new research, but it occurred to me that people, I guess, aren't really totally aware of this. So this is the Bermuda Triangle, roughly delineated by Puerto Rico, Bermuda, and Miami. So there's really no statistical basis for Bermuda Triangle being a scary place to be. So beyond the whole idea that the Earth swallows ships, and we all figured that probably didn't happen. But even as a matter of number of shipwrecks and planes that got missing in this area, it's not even in the top 10. In fact, the WWF, not the Wrestling League, World Wildlife Federation put out its most dangerous seas, and you'll notice, dramatically absent from that, is anywhere down across the Caribbean, particularly the Bermuda Triangle. So this guy did some research actually in the late 70s where he went back and tried to verify all these Bermuda Triangle stories. And what he found was sometimes these boats had actually gone into port in a different city and it had never gotten back to the original area. So this is, a lot of these stories were in the 1800s. People didn't communicate the same way. So a lot of these tales were just not accurate. There is one last thing to think about here. This is every tropical storm and hurricane that has ever been plotted in the Atlantic Basin. So even the shipwrecks that occurred, that at the time they said they didn't know why, it's quite obvious that there is a high concentration in that part of the world of hurricanes, of tropical storms. So even the ones that went missing, there's nothing mysterious about this. And even now, there's a ton of air traffic over that little triangle, usually East Coast flights going down into the Caribbean.
I still don't want to be on that plane. I don't
No,
think.
I mean, just because
I bet you've
for
done it.
mindset,
Have you've been down this way?
Yeah.
You've probably gone through Bermuda Triangle.
Probably.
We need to work on you coloring inside the lines. So
I know.
this is
I didn't make
not
that. There's just a lot
proper
going on.
coloring.
What do you see in that picture?
Just say.
Thanks so much for joining us.
News Center at 5:30 starts right now.